Learn to improve conversions and generate more leads with the video podcast at marketingoptimization.tv.
Hi, and welcome to the Marketing Optimization Podcast with Alex Designs. I'm your host, Alex Harris, and today we're chatting with David Bain. How you doing, David?
Hi, Alex. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I'm really good, thanks.
David is the host of DigitalMarketingRadio.com, and he's also an expert in growth and content marketing funnels. To get started, what would be your definition of optimization, and why is it beneficial?
Well, Alex, I would say that optimization is Kaizen. You're nodding away there, I see that. A lot of people think optimization is just focusing on increasing the amount of email opt-ins on a website, but really it's all about increasing the effectiveness of every single activity. And I didn't say every single activity in marketing there. I mean actually every activity within a business, because that can impact every aspect of marketing. If you optimize your customer service, then it can make, of course, your social media a lot more effective as well. So every little area of your business, constantly improving, to me, that's optimization.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into that too. The whole entire customer life cycle, not enough people pay attention to all those different touch points that really happen. Okay, you got the conversion, you got the sale. What happens after that initial sale? Don't just say goodbye to the customer and let them leave. Make sure that, maybe give them something of extreme value to keep them around your site, your best blog posts, your best videos. And then once they actually receive the product, make sure actually in the box, or whatever it is, that there's a catalog for them to come back and see all of your other products. That customer life cycle is really key.
Absolutely. A lot of businesses forget that it's so much cheaper to sell to people who are already customers. And they try and get new customers all the time, and they just ignore people that have already bought from them. And that's so frustrating.
Yeah, well, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you specialize in, and maybe a little bit of your background.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Yeah. Well, I first got involved with the online world quite a while ago. I actually started my first business online in the year 2000. And that went okay for a while, didn't quite work out, but it really encouraged me to actually find out more about online marketing. And by 2004, I was designing my own websites and actually making a full-time income through building my own websites and having different advertising code pasted on there, such as Google AdSense, 2004, 2005 or so. And I was doing pretty well. But that business model didn't really appeal to me. And I tried quite a few different other things just to see what I enjoyed doing online. I tried podcasting back then, made quite a few different videos. But what really I found passionate was actually helping other people be successful online. Because back then, over 10 years ago or so, a lot of businesses just didn't have a clue. They didn't know what they were doing at all. And I saw so many people advertising horrible services like $99 for 100,000 links to your website. And, gut instinct, I knew that perhaps short term that was going to bring in a lot of traffic to their website. And it maybe did over the short term, but it hammered their business over the long term. So I devised training programs, did seminars from 2007 or so onwards, and have worked for quite a few major clients since then. And just to bring you up to date, over the last year or so, I've been back doing podcasting again and really loving it. And that's kind of what I'm focusing on at the moment.
Yeah, even the dates, very similar journey to me. I did work in a corporate job for basically a decade, but during that time, I started in 2000, basically got serious in 2004. So the chronological dates kind of line up to a little bit of my journey as well. That's interesting. Today we're going to start talking about optimizing your content marketing funnel. And content marketing has just exploded these days. Whether you're doing videos, podcasts, blogs, slide shares, infographics, there's not enough concentration on streamlining that funnel specifically, having those micro goals. Can you take us through maybe the strategy that you think about when you're setting up those content marketing funnels?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're talking about so many different types of content and so much content there. And overall content quality has improved. I mean, back a few years ago, people used to do things like publish 400-word articles and spin them for different sites. And I did that myself quite a few years ago, and it worked. And you could rank articles high and drive traffic back to your site. And there has been a little bit more of a focus on content quality recently, but not quite enough, in my opinion. The majority of content out there is probably just above average, just above bare minimum to actually keep that content up there within a search engine. And by a search engine, I don't necessarily mean Google. YouTube, obviously, is the second biggest search engine in the world. And with YouTube, you've got loads of videos that are 5-minute videos that have maybe been recorded on Periscope and uploaded to YouTube, and they're okay, but they're not the kind of long-standing pieces of content that you would want to represent you as an individual and your brand for the long term. So I always believe that it's much more worthwhile to focus on one single high quality piece of content, and publish that and try and seed that and get people viewing that, get people sharing that there. And one example that I'll give is if you search YouTube for digital marketing, number 2, I think, now is one of the videos that I did, which was a seminar called The 4 Phases of Digital Marketing. And that's been up on YouTube for a couple of years. It was number one for a long time. It's had, I think, nearly 80,000 views. And that's my core piece of content that I use as the outer funnel to drive traffic, through this content marketing optimization system. So, I mean, the 4 different steps that I would say people should be thinking of when they think of a content optimization process is quality content to begin with, and seeding that content. Driving people towards an opt-in, so having people believe in you enough to be able to give their name and email address. So email is still very, very important. The third stage, nurturing, because you're not necessarily going to be making a sale straight away. So it's continuing to build that relationship over time. People might not be ready to buy from you quite yet. And then the last step isn't necessarily a sale. It could be a sale, but another possible option could be advocacy. People might not necessarily be still ready to buy from you, but they might believe in you enough to tell their friends about you and be your brand advocate, be your personal advocate. And that could be just as important as getting the sale at the end of the day.
And thinking about the content specifically, is there any best practices or tips that you can share to use that content to leverage that lead? How do you persuade them using a piece of content to now take the next step and capture that lead?
Yeah, I mean, to begin with, starting with the end in mind, because you have to know, what your outcome is going to be. Because if you don't have that, your content's going to be woolly. You're not going to have the highest conversion rates from that piece of content. So whatever your sale should be, your funnel process should work back there. Your communication within your email autoresponder, your opt-in, your lead type magnet there as well, and then you talking about the value of that lead magnet within that piece of content. It could be a long blog post that you've produced. In my example, it's a video. So in a video, you'd have multiple mentions of that lead magnets. I'd say within my video, my 4 Phases of Digital Marketing video. So if you want the ebook that accompanies this particular seminar, go to 26weekplan.com and download the 4 Phases of Digital Marketing ebook, and that will help you through that. That will provide a guide to go alongside this seminar. A lot of people produce a piece of content, and perhaps they've got a very, very small call to action at the end of that blog post, or just at the end of the video. And of course, when watching videos, if you actually look at the YouTube analytics, a lot of people don't get to the end. People watch the beginning. If they like it, then they might watch a little bit more, but people generally tail off. They might come back to it, they might not. And you need to subtly talk about what people need to do after watching that video prior to getting to the end of that video. So all through it. Don't be hard-nosed in sales approach. Say, it'll help you. Say, in conjunction with this video, I've also produced this for you. And if you're helpful, then it's not salesy, so you can mention it a few times.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. So we have quality content. We're now using that content to produce conversions, our overall end in mind, the actual goal. And now let's talk about the nurture campaigns. How often do you send emails out? Is there any maybe right frequency that you've seen work better than others? Maybe any specific type of nurture campaigns? Is it directly related to that original video? Any other insight that you could share?
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's to be honest with you, I'm constantly improving, and everyone's constantly improving at this. And I probably haven't got this completely off to pat, because the best thing would be to be able to use some kind of marketing automation tool and break down your leads, and use a tool like HubSpot or Marketo or Infusionsoft or something like that. And I haven't tried actually those tools specifically. My autoresponder sequence, I use a tool called Aweber, which is great if you're just focusing on perhaps one particular core product or service. But if you want to break down your list and you offer multiple products and services, then it's worthwhile getting a bit more serious and getting a good piece of marketing automation. But I think the two main things that I do, just to mention, what I do for the first 7 days is most days I'm actually sending an email with additional bits of content. And then after that, because I do a 26-week digital marketing plan, I actually send an email on a weekly basis for 26 weeks saying, this is what you should be thinking this week as part of your digital marketing strategy. So it's a little helpful hint that I give. I think a lot of people stop too quickly within their autoresponder. They maybe have 3 or 4 messages in there. I've probably got about 30 odd messages in there. So that's probably a lot better than average. It could probably be better. It could probably be better targeted towards different products and services, but constant improvement.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had other people on the show, and I asked them, well, what's the frequency that you should send email after that first opt-in? And the always answer is as much as it takes. What is the specific tolerance that your customer is used to? If they're an internet marketer, more than likely, if they know that, let's say they're getting into the 26-week training, they know that they're expected 26 weeks. So if you are actually able to set that value up initially, they can expect it. And then in your emails, you can even say, expect this email coming in the next 7 days.
So exactly. So it's all, I mean, you use the word tolerance there, and expectation as well.
Yeah.
If what happens is you get that opt-in and you don't communicate with anyone for a couple of months, and then all of a sudden you're emailing once a day for a week, those emails will probably be marked as spam because people will have forgotten about you. They won't remember that they actually opt in with you to begin with. If, however, you sign up and every single day you sign an email, that's not necessarily overboard if it's good quality content and if it's what people are looking for. People sign up for Groupon and they want to receive that offer every single day. Yeah. So it depends on your business.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about video. We talked about maybe some initial content marketing. Other areas of the content marketing funnel that you want to get into, maybe some specific tools that you may use to collect those leads, or any A/B testing or examples that you've tried where you've seen some best cases that people could try themselves?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of other content marketing activities, I've also published quite a few mini books on Kindle. And that's quite an interesting potential source of leads, as well as source of income as well. All these things are worth testing. Just because a Kindle book is for sale for $2.99 or whatever the price happens to be, that's not necessarily the income, which is the biggest focus there. It could be the fact that you've mentioned your other products in there and that you can drive traffic back from that. So that can be quite effective. In terms of specific tools, at the moment I'm using a tool called Hotjar, which is quite interesting. So that will give you more user insight. It will let you do user surveys. It'll also give you videos of what your visitors are doing while they're on your website. And it's really, really interesting material that it gives you. And if you sign up for that service, it's actually free initially, as far as I'm aware. It was free when I signed up, actually. But it certainly is very low cost compared with lots of other tools out there that do a similar kind of thing. There's another website that I've used called usertesting.com. And you can actually find real life people that will go through your website and record a 15-minute video and their audio with it. And you'll see the video of them going through your website, and it will give their opinion of what your website is like and where your strengths and weaknesses are. And it's so very easy as a business owner to get myopic, to get blind to what your site is really about. You can be through your website all the time and think, well, yes, this is very easy and logical for people, but it's not necessarily the case. So getting people to view your website for the first time can be an eye-opener.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of both of those tools. Actually, the founder of Hotjar was actually on the show, and we had user testing as well. I interviewed them both, but I actually talk about them in my new book as well, how to use Hotjar and pull out that qualitative insight, or use usertesting.com and then ask the right questions to get the best out of those usability tests. Because what goes on in the customer's mind as they go through your funnels, if you're able to document that and see patterns of language that people use, that's that voice of the customer. Then you can use that back in your own marketing material. And Hotjar in particular, it's free to get started, so you can get a great amount of data in your initial free trial. And it's free every single month. And if you want to get more data, then you actually start paying for it. But what the beauty of Hotjar is, not only does it do heat maps and mouse tracking, is like once you set up the actual recordings and the funnels, you can find out where people are dropping off and then click one button and watch all of the mouse tracking videos, specifically all of the people who drop off at that one point in your funnel. It's a great tool. Highly recommend you use it. Hotjar.com.
It's incredible. Yeah. I mean, we were talking about 2004, 2005 earlier on, and how you got started at a similar kind of time, and it's incredible thinking back now. The lack of tools, or there was nothing available back then. I remember designing individual web pages in Dreamweaver. And also figuring out myself with JavaScript actually to do an automatic redirect and testing different things. This is way before Google even introduced their free testing tool, Google Webmaster Optimizer, at the time. So it's so much easier now than it used to be.
I remember when I actually worked in corporate and we wanted to do usability testing, we had to rent this machine that you put on your head and it watched you with your eyes. So it literally figured out where you were looking, like your temperature and all this stuff going. Thousands of dollars, put people in a room. You had to look like a cyborg to go and do it. And now you pay $50, get a user testing, it comes back in 24 hours. Boom.
I know. I can't even imagine to think what it will be like in 10 years' time. How much technology will have evolved then. It's just impossible to even imagine, just about.
Well, we have to start optimizing for the Apple Watch soon, so,
I haven't contemplated that one yet, but there will certainly be a significant market for that, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have a podcast yourself, the DigitalMarketingRadio.com. Can you tell us a little bit about your show, the type of guests that you have, maybe some highlights, some people that you've interviewed?
Yeah, sure. I'm a bit scared of mentioning people, but not mentioning other people. But if that's the case, then forgive me. So yeah, I'm really passionate about digital marketing strategy. Been involved with that for about 10 years or so. So a couple, 2 or 3 years ago, I registered the domain name DigitalMarketingRadio.com because I thought that would be a cool name to actually do a podcast with. So I finally got going with it about a year ago or so. And got all the equipment, and I've interviewed people like Chris Ducker, exactly, Amy Schmidhauer, Colin Gray's another great podcaster actually that I interviewed as well. Mike Russell, he's a guy that runs New Media Europe here in Manchester, so he's a great guy to know. who have I interviewed more recently? I've interviewed Ed Dale quite recently. Ed Dale's quite a famous Australian digital marketer. I was actually I was in Australia for a year, so that was a great place to be for a while. So I'm now at episode number 109, I think, that's published. So forgive me if I can't remember every single name off the top of my head.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it seems like we're on the same case, because this will probably be around that same number too, episode.
Something like that.
100s or something like that. But anyway, you start to lose count. It's hard to remember. I mean, you doing this for a couple of years now. It's definitely hard to remember all of the guests and all the topics that you go through. But I imagine that, for me, learning from everyone else and understanding their different methodologies, it's really helped me become more efficient with my own marketing, optimize it a lot better.
Oh.
Have you felt the same way?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and that's only probably just the start of it. By hosting your own podcasts, you hopefully become a better speaker, a better presenter. You start editing yourself and hearing yourself going ums and ahs and going, I hate my voice. And so slowly you begin to accept it and hopefully improve a little bit there as well. And then you learn about presenting, which helps with on-stage speaking there as well, about equipment, about lighting, things like that as well. And then the contacts that you make as well. So it's not just about learning off them, it's the relationships that you can build with people that you talk to. Because I do another live show called thisweekinorganic.com. I invited about 20 or so people that I interviewed for Digital Marketing Radio onto my new show as well, built further relationships with them as well, and have become fairly close to some decent marketers that I met simply because of their podcast.
It's been a real difference maker for me, just meeting other like-minded conversion-focused entrepreneurs, getting them on my show, and then maybe going to conferences, hanging out with them, maybe having a pint or two, but really just connecting. It's tremendously fast-paced the last few years, especially being an entrepreneur and being on my own, because I'm really not surrounded by a team anymore. I now work from home. I hang out with my dogs. I do have subcontractors around the country and around the world, but we don't hang out online. We don't share the same interests. And when I was first starting my podcast, there was nobody really talking about conversion. I mean, there was in the past, but they had all pod faded, and it was like I was missing that. And I knew that if I wanted to listen to it, that there would be other people who wanted to listen too. And now it's great to connect with other people in that way.
Oh, absolutely. And you have to find your own way of doing it as well. You don't want to go out there and copy other people. I mean, the way I do it is I have my iPad and an app called Boss Jock, and I have little noises, bumper noises, introductions that I play as part of it as well. And to me, I enjoy doing that kind of stuff and mixing it all live. And some people wouldn't like doing that, and maybe some people listening would find that just stupid and perhaps even put off by it. But you've got to do things that you're passionate about yourself. And if you come across as if you're passionate about something and you enjoy it, then you'll eventually gain that bunch of people who like the same kind of stuff that you do.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with your web design and your marketing too. A lot of times we don't know what we think we know, or even the opposite. We know more than we actually do. And once you actually be able to express it and teach it to other people, then you start to really master it. It's a big difference between practicing something and trying to teach it, especially doing public speaking in the last couple of years. To be able to explain somebody conversion rate optimization in an easy to understand way, it can be a little bit difficult. A lot of times you have to talk about the technical aspects, you talk about the tools, the analytics, and eyes start to glaze over, and it's like, ugh. So you have to kind of figure out your message, how you can really connect to other people. And just like you mentioned, it's all about results. It's about helping other people really get to their next level in their career, to improve their own websites, their own conversion rates. And through that, you get fulfilled. You're able to help other people get those specific results. And really, that's what podcasting really has done for me, connecting with the audience and seeing how I can really help them to make a difference in their business too.
Absolutely. I mean, you mentioned the technical aspect of it. I'm actually really glad that I'm getting. Well, I'm an old guy now in digital marketing, really, because I had the opportunity to come through being able to code myself and work out things like PHP includes and what does this JavaScript do, and actually looking into the code myself. I think the majority of people getting started now, even though they're passionate about it, we'll just take different templates and maybe use OptimizePress or use lead pages or something like that and split test from there, but not really know what's going on behind the scenes in coding. Yeah. So I'm kind of glad that I've had that little advantage of coming through the coding era.
Yeah, absolutely, me too. And I have one of my colleagues, he's very, very talented, very smart, great thought leader. And a lot of people come to, they go, how do I do this? How do I do that? How do I do that? And he's always like, forget about the how. You can always figure out the how. If you have a strong enough why and enough passion, it's going to come through and you're going to figure out along the way. Model successful people, hire people on clarity.fm, get advisors, ask questions. You can always figure out the technical, the how aspect of it. It really comes down to your passion and then learning from your mistakes. Because what I see with people getting burnt out on CRO is, oh, I'm getting all this data, but I don't know what to do with it. Or, they reach this plateau, it's like, oh, I freak out. They read the latest blog post and they install every single tool possible, but they're not accomplishing anything. So it's more likely that you just need to get opinions from other professionals so you can really receive feedback to use that in a scalable way.
Oh, absolutely. It's funny that you talk about mistakes there, because one of my biggest mistakes was probably actually wanting to learn technically how everything worked. What does this piece of code do? I can't continue doing this until I can figure this out. Yeah. And maybe it's been too positive in terms of my development in knowing so much about different aspects of digital marketing, but maybe in terms of financial success earlier, it would have been a lot better if I just focused on this is what I want people to reach in terms of generating a sale, and that's should be my only focus. And in CRO, that kind of should be your main focus, shouldn't it?
Oh, cool. Well, want to mention maybe how people can find out more about you. Maybe you want to share how people can find you on social media and things like that.
Yeah, sure. If you want to check out that video on YouTube, just search for hopefully digital marketing and find that. You can obviously find me at DigitalMarketingRadio.com, or if you want to check out my live show that I do every Friday, that's at 4 p.m. in the UK, so that's 11 a.m. New York, 8 a.m. in Los Angeles. And that's called This Week in Organic, so thisweekinorganic.com. And if someone wants to just interact with me on Twitter, say hi after they've seen that would be cool. So my Twitter ID is just David Bain, that's David B-A-I-N.
To close out, what would you tell optimizers they can do to really take their conversion rates to that next level? What would be that next step you would want them to take?
I would simply say don't reinvent the wheel. A lot of people want to figure out the website design by themselves or have their in-house team. They think they know what their customers want and they can design what their customers want. There are loads of services now, such as lead pages, such as OptimizePress and other services out there that have templates that have been tested and used by thousands of other websites. So use that as a starting point before you start your optimization campaign. And if you start off at a point that has been tested effectively by other people to begin with, then you're so much more further ahead than even a big in-house design department coming up with something themselves.
Thanks a lot for your time, David.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here with you, Alex. Thank you.
Thank you for watching the Marketing Optimization Podcast with Alex Designs. Please remember to subscribe to all of the videos in my YouTube channel. Thank you.